All right, guys, I have heard a few rumors that people are struggling with the ratio analysis, particularly the ratio analysis that was taken up during the first case study workshop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it up really quickly, and hopefully from my perspective, when I share this information, you should be able to get a little bit deeper in terms of a little better understanding in terms of how to do it. Okay, so again, it's just another person talking about the ratio analysis. This is actually the same content I shared with my TAs, so hopefully it's similar. But in any case, sometimes it's just nice to hear the same thing twice, and you can learn a little bit more from that. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, so this is the ratio analysis that was taken up during the workshop. So based on the historical trend in population growth, how many campers do you anticipate in 2017? Okay, so the goal that we're trying to achieve is, just wait, I got a fancy way to do this. Boom. Okay, that's what we're trying to do. I know it's not centered, sorry. But based on this question, that is the final number we are trying to figure out. Okay. So based on that, this column isn't the thing you would fill out first. This column is probably something you'd fill out last. Okay, this is the final, based on the question, that's the final, that is what our objective is trying to solve. Okay. So based on the historical trend in population growth. Okay, so based on that, one trick you can kind of do is to say, okay, we know that we're going to do this is a ratio analysis. We know that we're going to have some type of ratio calculated here. What numbers in that same row do we already know exist? Okay, so if you can't piece together what columns we're going to take a ratio of, just take a look at what numbers are currently available for 2017. Okay, you can see that these two columns are. Okay, so you know that you're going to be doing a ratio of the campers and one of these two columns. So it wouldn't be the counselors. Okay, it would be one of these two columns. Okay. Now, based on the question, you can have a better understanding. Okay, based on the historical trend in population growth, how many campers do you anticipate in 2017? Is there any? I guess one thing that I forgot to mention is somewhere in the case, okay, not in this particular question, but in the case that they say there's a particular ratio or an important ratio of campers to number of children. Okay, so unfortunately, I didn't include that in the slide here, but it is in the write-up of this particular case. So because you're in between the two, okay? So I'm either doing a ratio of campers to total population of community or campers to number of children. And that's the tricky thing, figuring out which one. The case would guide you to number of children, okay? So once we identify that is the correct column we need to look at, we create the ratio column, okay? The ratio column is simply campers over number of children, okay, to give you the ratio of how many people we can expect, how many campers we can expect based on the total population of children in the city. So not total population, because that would include like adults and stuff, right? So the number of children in the community, okay, so 850 divided by 10,000, you go all the way down here, okay, to figure out what each of the ratios are. And again, as I said in this class, we're only considering the average, okay? So add up 8.5, 9.8, 10, 10, 10.3 divided by 5, and that'll give you 9.72, okay? And then what do we do here? So the percentage, so 0.0972 times 1650. As you can see here, I got a little typo. That shouldn't be 16,500. It should be just 1650. Okay, and that puts the final number to 1604. Okay, in this case, you would always round up. So in this case, it would be rounding up to 1604. So that's fine. One question you might have is why 0.0972? The percentage really just reflects the idea that it's out of 100. So it's 9.72 out of 100, or that the average would have come out to 0.0972. Okay, so multiply that by 1650. Some of you might also be asking, why am I multiplying it when the ratio previously was dividing it? Okay, so then one thing you might consider here. So if we look at, again, here's campers over, let's just do number of children this way, okay, equals the ratio. Okay, what we're trying to figure out is we're trying to figure out the number, we're trying to figure out campers. Okay, if that's the ratio algorithm we've been using and we don't know this number, this C, in order to do this, we're going to multiply both sides by this number piece. So the ratio times number, and that gives you the camper. Okay, so that takes you to the 1604. So now, okay, so now, well, you've answered. Is the question just how many campers? Yeah. So it's not saying how many new campers. It's just saying how many campers. So you don't have to do any subtraction or anything like that. The 1604 is the final answer. Okay, the next piece. Okay, so you've filled in that. We've erased the ratio piece because perhaps we're going to create a new ratio for the next question. So based on the historical trend in camper to counselor ratios. Okay, so in this case, the question actually tells you which columns are connected. Okay, camper to counselor ratio. So no secrets. You didn't have to read anything earlier in the case. They give it to you right here. Okay, so we know that these are going to be the two magical columns for calculating the ratio and the number of campers forecasted in the previous question. Okay, good. So we got that, that number in the previous question. How many counselors do you think will be needed in this summer? Okay, so in this one's a little bit more straightforward. Okay, this question's basically dictating everything you need to do. How many counselors are going to need next year? It's said right here. With the two columns were together. This number is now completed, so we have a better understanding in terms of what we're going to do here. Okay, so we know we're going to take a ratio of both of those columns. Okay, so real quickly, 850 over 100, 1000 over 100. Okay, if you go down again, in this case, we did not calculate the percentages. We're just calculating the numbers. Okay, so you don't have to do the percentage sign. 850 divided by 100 is 8.5. Okay, you do all of this, add them up, divide by 5, gives you 9.34. Okay, so in this case, okay, when we're calculating this final counselor number, it's a division sign. Again, you're probably like, well, what the heck? Why is it a division sign? Last time was a multiplication sign. Okay, let's do this. Let's do a quick check. So the ratio here is camper over counselor equals R. In this case, the number we're missing is the counselor. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to move the counselor up here, going to move the R down there. Okay, so in this case, it would be camper over R equals counselor. Okay, so the number of campers, 1604, divided by the ratio, 19.34, equals 1.72. Okay, and that is it. That's how to calculate the ratio to get the correct answer based on this ratio question, based on what you guys took up in the workshop. Hope you found this helpful. If not, shoot me a note and happy to explain this further. Other than that, best of luck studying on the exam.